This is episode 34 of the Latter-day Saint Geeks podcast. I'm Spencer, and today my co-host is Joe. How you doing
Howdy,
tonight?
howdy. I'm good.
We're here to talk about some of Marvel's upcoming projects. I think you could call it the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it all kind of seems like it's the MCU at this point, so I don't know how you term it, but got at least a couple projects we're going to talk about tonight. First, we're going to do our recommendations. I have been playing with intermittent enthusiasm the Pokemon trading card game Pocket app, and I know Michael has been wanting to like battle me on there and everything, but I don't. Have you been playing it?
Yes, I have. I have most of the first set.
I think I probably do as well. I have most of the mythical Celebi one as well, or no, Mew's on the cover. But I get a little like, and I'm sure that's why they release new sets is because people lose a little bit of enthusiasm. So hey, let's release something new. But it's kind of fun to get back into the Pokemon cards and learn how to actually play it because I can't say that as a kid I ever properly knew how to play it. So,
I will say, as a kid, I loved the game and collected the cards until I was the oldest person in the card store. So I am very excited for it, and it actually got me back into collecting the TCG in real life. So,
yeah, I've been very tempted to collect some of the cards now, but I'm like, oh, can my spending money really allow that? So, we bought a house last year, so money is, well, I like having some money in reserve, we'll say.
absolutely,
Um,
and getting into any sort of TCG certainly goes against that.
yeah, and if my experiences with Yu-Gi-Oh in high school are any indication, those booster packs are not always my friend, and they burn away money very fast. So,
Absolutely.
all right, what do you got?
So my recommendation, I've been watching Batman Brave and the Bold. It came out from 2014 to 2018, and I didn't catch it when it first came out, but now rewatching it, I'm having a delightful time. It is on HBO Max. It is very family friendly Batman. They follow the classic Golden Age storylines for some, and they add a few of the newer characters in for others. We get the new Blue Beetle, for example, but we also get people like the Challengers of the Unknown, which is a group that nobody talks about, nobody writes about anymore. But it is fun to see the classic storylines being retold in this format, and they do not skimp on the cheesiness or how silly the old storylines were. They even address in one episode the fact that a lot of fans found it to be not as dark or as cutting edge as, say, Batman the Animated Series, but they defended it saying this is another version of Batman. This is how Batman originated. This is a Batman a lot of people know and love. So we honor that, and we're retelling some of those stories. And frankly, I get a huge kick out of it. And plus, they have cameos from Adam West, who played the original Batman in the TV series, and Kevin Conroy, who played Batman in Batman the Animated Series and in the Arkham Asylum games. So it's fun to hear the voice actors get to play different versions of Batman or different characters in the Batman universe. It's a fun show. I've had a lot of fun with it.
And if I recall, the 1960s Batman series was the real like campy one that is really cheesy. It's the one that's known for like bang pow popping up on the screen, right?
That's right.
And the Holy Toledo
And it's one
Batman.
that, yep, holy this Batman, holy that Batman. And Adam West was famous for it, but a lot of people were introduced to Batman through that show.
Yeah. But nowadays it's all Christian Bale, like dark and gruffy kind of Batman. So Kind of nice to.
Exactly, and it's
When you said family friendly Batman, I was like, it's we've had so much gruff Batman that I was perplexed there for a minute.
yeah, it is nice to get back to because Batman should be for everyone. Batman,
Yeah.
it's let's face it, it was originally written for, you know, a lot of Batman was originally written for kids, and as adults we can still enjoy it, and they certainly have written towards adults in more recent times. But I think there should be a version of Batman for everybody.
I mean, just the fact that you and I grew up watching this version or that version of Batman should say that there ought to be a Batman for kids. And this just goes to show that it works.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say on Batman?
No, just like I said, make sure you catch it. There is one movie that goes towards it. That's Batman Brave and the Bold meets Scooby Doo,
Oh my
which
gosh.
I haven't seen it yet, but I think that's absolutely adorable and goes right with the whole campy 60s vibe.
I think I even remember seeing, because this was, you said like 10, 5, 10 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember seeing memes of like the crossover. Now that you say that, it's bringing back memories.
Yep,
Uh,
and that's another thing that Batman was always known for, especially in the old shows, was he got crossovers with everyone. So,
oh, that could be fun then. It's one that I got to work down my list of shows that I'm working on, but eventually I have to add that one to the list. So, all right. Well, moving on from DC to Marvel, I'm gonna have to defer to you on some of these things, just because you're my one of my like comic book go tos. You'll know a lot more about these storylines than I will in many ways. But in the next few months, we've got a number of, I feel like more Marvel stuff that in the next few months than we've had in a couple of years, it feels like. Um, so we'll see how many of them we get to tonight. But let's start with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's coming out in, I think, this coming week. Like when this episode gets published, we'll be in the midst of the first episode or two of the series. So, as far as I'm aware, they're already planning on a second season. The series was originally titled like Spider-Man Freshman Year and Spider-Man Sophomore Year. Um, it doesn't seem like it's supposed to be the same as Tom Holland's Spider-Man based on the characters and storylines. I originally thought it was supposed to be like a prequel to Spider-Man Homecoming and Civil War and everything, but what are your thoughts? What do you know about what's going on?
honestly, I think the whole idea of let's show the superhero who has to fight crime in between classes is a little bit played out. Spider Man was the first one, though, who actually did it, so I give him a little more room. This show probably wouldn't be my cup of tea, to be honest. I know we were just talking about kid friendly Batman. This seems more like kid friendly Spider Man, of which we have so much. The one thing that has intrigued me though is the fact that his best friend is Nico Minoru from The Runaways, which, despite the fact that her character doesn't make sense in New York, that's a character that I'm always excited to see anywhere they put her.
Yeah, that's one thing that I wanted to get your thoughts on because like I loved Runaways. I watched all 3 seasons. I think I need, you know, Gert and Nico and all the others. I need them to show up at some point. Like I just need them to be canon and solidly canon and not just different part of the multiverse canon. So when I heard that Nico was in this, I was really confused. Like, well, more than confused, I was disappointed because to me that said, okay, Runaways isn't canon. But now that it's a different Spider-Man, it's I don't know. It's all kind of weird. But
Well, well, I know Nico in particular, they have hinted that she is canon in the MCU. There's a Easter egg during Doctor Strange movie where when they're gearing up to go and fight Dormammu, one of the sorcerers in the Sanctum Sanctorum in Japan has the Staff of One. And so they've hinted that at least it exists in this universe. I, too, would absolutely love to see the Runaways show up in the MCU, especially now that they're doing more X-Men, because that means that we can get the proper mutant stuff and get Molly in there. I think that Nico was a big part a couple of years ago of the Marvel Midnight Suns video game. And while that game didn't really take off as well as Marvel hoped it would, she was certainly a breakout character from it and has been a breakout character for the Runaways. So I'm really excited to see her. I want to see what she does. At the same time, though, putting her in New York does change her character significantly. It would be like casting Batman in London. Like, one of the biggest things about Batman is Gotham.
Oh, really?
And one of the biggest things about the Runaways is that they're not part of the New York superhero community that every other character was part of.
Yeah. It makes me curious. Again, it's like I don't have any basis for this except for the Runaways TV show, but I'm curious how it's all gonna play out. Like, it's pretty obviously a different Spider-Man. I mean, it's the same voice actor as from What If, so that could mean anything. You know, they use the same voice actress for X-Men 97 as they did when Storm appeared in What If. So it could mean it's related. It could mean that it's completely different because we still don't even, I think, have confirmation as to whether X-Men 97 is part of that same multiverse or it's all the same multiverse or whatever. So does this have any significance to the MCU overall? And it doesn't really need to, but I mean, to me it's kind of being played as part of the Marvel universe, so I kind of want to know.
I am kind of worried that we are going to end up with this multiverse of nonsense sort of situation where we have so many, which is what DC ended up falling into, where we have so many properties and so many TV shows and the same character in so many shows, and we don't know which world they all connect to. And we get cameos and hints and all of this to the point where it's just exhausting to even try to follow something because we don't know whose universe they're in or if they're or what is or isn't canon. I'm also not super looking forward to. I really hope they don't do the thing where it is they meet all of Spider-Man's villains while he's in high school. I know that he met several of his main villains in high school, like the guy who ended up being Venom and the Green Goblin, but I feel like that would end up being the same thing as like the Gotham TV series where Batman just meets his entire rogues gallery during high school and makes no sense and gets to the point of being silly because like he fought these people as adults and some of these people are like 20, 30 years older than him. So he's fighting, people who are getting AARP, which seems even more, uneven than just a rich man who got to train all over the world fighting essentially people who have mental illness.
Well, it made me think of like on Smallville, it's like 10 years of Lex Luthor and all the other Superman villains before he ever put on the cape. And I mean, that's one version of Superman, but it's still like it doesn't, the vibe is completely different than every other version of Superman that I've ever seen, besides the Smallville Clark Kent.
Exactly. So. And while you can get some good stuff out of it, I think we've just seen enough. I've seen enough of it that I'm not, like I said, I'll watch the show for Nico and just see kind of where it goes, but I'm not especially excited for it.
How do you feel about the animation style and the artwork? Because you're more artsy than me, and you've definitely read more comic books than me. So, and I kind of feel like they're going for similar to the Spider-Verse movies, where it's the comic book looking animation, and I honestly don't know how I feel about it. And I feel like it's one of the things that threw me off from the Spider-Verse movies, and I don't think I ever saw past the first one.
Honestly, I think they might shoot them in the foot with as expensive as that animation is. I think there is a big fight for making animation as grand and as glorious as possible. One of the other shows I've been watching lately is Castlevania Nocturne, and that show is absolutely gorgeous, but they can only put out 8 episodes at a time because it takes so long to animate it. Um, and honestly, we don't need the world's most cutting edge animation to make a good show. The Simpsons has been around for over 30
Mhm.
years, and their animation, even at its best, is barely more than napkin doodles.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean, even
a lo-
X Men '97. I mean, X Men '97 is like upgraded compared to the original series, but it's still like the basic 2D animation that the
yeah, and it
'90s had.
looks great.
Yeah, it didn't need to be upgraded, except I mean, it's more HD now than it was in the '90s, but that's about it.
And you watch the original X-Men cartoon, and it's not animation wise, it holds up. There are some glitches that you see and a few character models that they use repeatedly, but for the most part, yeah, they animated it really well. We don't I think we don't need these if we have so many of these gimmicks, like who they have for the voice actors and what are they doing with the animation, and oh, we have this special guest that Spider-Man never hangs out with. The question is, what are they trying to make up for?
Hmm. And honestly, I think in some ways they're trying to make up for the fact that they don't have the rights to live action Spider Man.
Which is, again, it's a shame because we'd love to see more Spider-Man in the MCU, and if this is the closest we're going to get, that's fine. But we can do Spider-Man on Spider-Man's already active. He's just drawing him in any sort of fight is incredible. We don't need all of this the special random comic book animation that gave people seizures for the Spider-Verse stuff.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm skeptical about it. Sounds like you are too, but I'm still going to give it a shot at least. See what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the first couple episodes, and if it doesn't grab me, I'm moving on.
Yeah. All right. Anything else about Spider Man?
Nope.
All right. Moving on from Spider Man, like they should be probably. Um, we got Captain America coming out Valentine's Day weekend. Are you taking your wife to go see it for Valentine's Day date?
I would if we celebrated Valentine's Day, but we the thing is I wasn't very excited about this movie until they dropped a later trailer where we got the idea that um we're going to have Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk.
Oh yeah.
That was cool. Before
Hmm.
then it looked more like a Manchurian Candidate, one of these, political thriller movies, which I love that the MCU, I love that they can do all these different genres and appeal to different tastes. The comedy stuff with the Guardians of the Galaxy, the horror stuff with the Werewolf by Night and
They literally did a
Multiverse of
kung fu
Madness.
movie.
Exactly. This one though, it felt very like the movies that my dad would like to watch and that I usually fell asleep during. So I was like, I guess. But then when we saw Harrison Ford turn into the Red Hulk, it was like, okay, that's my ticket right there. I'm going to see it just for that.
Yeah. I mean, so to put this in perspective, this movie is essentially the sequel to the Disney Plus Falcon and the Winter Soldier series. We've got Sam as Captain America, Joaquin Torres as the new Falcon. We've got Isaiah Bradley, who is the Black Captain America from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and like you said, we've got Harrison Ford as Ross, and now Red Hulk, which we need to circle back to recasting Ross in a minute because that's probably a discussion to have. But we've also got the return of Betty Ross and Samuel Stearns, who haven't been seen since the Incredible Hulk movie, which I feel like, in many ways, in previous phases of the MCU kind of pretended that movie didn't exist. But I mean, I don't know all the details behind all the reshoots and stuff, but it's been a long time coming for this movie to be here, and now we're gonna have all this going on. And I mean, I don't know. I've seen Red Hulk in, I think, one of the Avengers cartoons I watched on Disney Plus. I think had Red Hulk, but give me a little what should people know about Red Hulk going into Captain America?
So honestly, with this one, my Hulk lore is a little bit weak. I know that we have Red Hulk and there's Red She-Hulk. It's something that they try. From what I remember, they tried to redo the Gamma test, but because there was something like because the Hulk, Bruce Banner, was a normal, relatively calm human being, like a decent person, that he's able to kind of control the Hulk, and the Hulk has kind of a good side. But it's the fact that the ones who they tested it on to try to redo it were such angry, dangerous villains already that it became Red Hulk and got even worse. At least that's what my understanding. I do also know that there is a Gray Hulk that was around for a while, but they've turned him into a separate character that we're not going to see. It's a whole thing with that was to me it's fascinating because originally Hulk was going to be green, but they couldn't at the time they couldn't afford the pigments to make the Hulk green in the comics. So he had to be gray, which is a whole other world if you think about it than what we know of now, where we can just
Yeah,
print anything in any color. It's not even a problem. But anyway, the fact is that's basically what I know about the Red Hulk. The fascinating thing, though, is Red Hulk and the leader are both Hulk villains, and this movie
yeah.
does not
We haven't
have
had
the
like any
Hulk.
Hulk villains, and well, yeah, I guess that's true. There's no indication that the Hulk is even in this movie, right?
Yeah, we haven't seen anything about even like Ruffalo showing up in any way. Like, and we know that from She-Hulk, he's still stuck in Hulk mode. He's still Professor Hulk, but if all these Hulk villains are running around, where is he? Instead, Captain America has to fill in, which I'm sorry, he's got a shield made of cool metal and some wings. He's not taking on a Hulk.
Yeah, like I'm even trying to imagine Steve Rogers, Captain America, taking on a Hulk, and that sounds. I'm pretty sure that happened at one point in one of the Avengers movies. I don't know, but it's still Bruce Banner Hulk took down like all of the rest of them in the first one. I'm pretty sure. So that's
Well, and he took out Iron Man when Iron Man had a suit specially made for the Hulk. He took out Thor in the arena during Ragnarok.
oh yeah,
He's and that's normal Hulk. That's
that's
not
regular.
super duper angry Hulk.
Yeah,
So it'd be interesting to see what he's going to do to try to take down the Hulk, or if this might be the end of Captain America. You know, which
which
would
would be
be
quite interesting since he just barely took up the shield.
yeah, he barely took up the shield. He's only been Captain America for like a minute. I love him as Captain America. I don't want to see that legacy end ever. But it's also what is he going to do? Unless he's got some magic formula, maybe they're going to do a Planet Hulk thing where they at one point in the comics they were so sick of the Hulk rampaging around the world that they just rocketed him off to another planet and he had to deal with that and there was a whole big mess there, but that would also be interesting. But it is like why like, and it comes back to why aren't other heroes showing up, which in a movie it makes sense because Mark Ruffalo does not show up cheap, but in the comics you can have all the heroes you want show up to any event,
Right.
and it doesn't make sense that yeah, oh, I have to fight the Hulk and Mark Ruffalo is just Bruce Banner's just sitting there watching it on TV going fun next. Like, that doesn't make sense, but we're here. I get how movies have to be made. So
Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Ross being recasted? Because there was a whole big thing about when Chadwick about whether Black Panther should be recasted back in the day, but now Ross has been recasted, and I mean it's Harrison Ford, so it's hard to argue with the casting choice. But I feel like the with the question of Black Panther was like out of respect to him and his family and everything, they chose not to recast him. But now with Ross, we've recasted him, and I don't know. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
To me, recasting in this sort of a situation is always tricky because, especially since the actor who originally was Ross passed away,
Yeah,
and the thing is, I think when it comes down to it, not a lot of people, like, no one has a General Ross action figure. You know, there weren't little kids looking up to General Ross. He was a minor villain in a minor movie. Black Panther was a big deal when he came out because he was an African character. He was a black hero from Africa, from this whole, you know, Wakanda was beautiful. You actually ask some kids today, and maybe, and some adults today, and they will name Wakanda as an African country, which someone take these people to a geography class, but also that's pretty neat that people really loved Black Panther that much. So I can understand why we
right.
don't want to
That much of an
recast him,
impact.
but sorry.
Oh, I said, yeah, that he had that much of an impact on them.
Yeah, so I get why we don't want to recast him because that's honoring him, and especially since he did a lot of his charity work when he was in stage 4 and knew that he was dying. Like, he was a hero. And no offense to the actor who played Ross originally. I mean, he's a fine person, I'm sure. But if we're going to have this character, especially this huge, like in the comics, he's a big deal. And in the movies, he wasn't. But if we're going to bring him back as a big deal, we gotta have him in there. We gotta recast him somewhere. And honestly, I don't think the actor would be ashamed if his part was taken by Harrison Ford. I mean, if it was taken by some nobody from, you know, Wisconsin who just happened to have gray sideburns, that's probably wouldn't be great. But this is Indiana Han Solo who's going to take his character. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah. No, that's it. Puts in perspective there. I think you got make a good point, and I'd hope that it's almost an honor to to have Han Solo play you. So
Exactly. I think it's going to be really good. And I hope his family is, I mean, if his family is going to pitch a fit, I'd honor the family, but it sounds like the family is more like, "Hey, we just want to see our, you know, our loved one is represented still." So, more power to them.
yeah, that makes sense. Um, any other thoughts on Captain America?
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
sad that I probably won't be able to see it until March, but I mean that'll also be after all of the crazed fans who cheer every time you know Sam walks on screen or every time Harrison Ford walks on screen. They'll be all done with their cheering hopefully by that point, so I can actually listen to the words being spoken on the screen. So that's why I don't do
We can
midnight
only
showings
hope,
anymore.
right?
Right. Okay. I got one more show that or one more project that I was thinking we'd talk about tonight, and that's Daredevil Born Again, coming out at the begin. The first episode's set to premiere at the beginning of March, and we already have the second season in development, and I think it's supposed to be like two parts of the same story. So really, it's like they're going to leave us with some sort of cliffhanger at the end of season one, but really it's all one story. Um, at first it was going to be completely separate from the Netflix series, but now it's like in continuity. We've got Matt Fisk, the whole legal team, Foggy and Karen, even Punisher and Poindexter are back. Um, although I think if I recall correctly, Vanessa Fisk was recasted. I don't know if that was ever changed or if she's back or how that's all playing out, but other than her, I think everyone else is like back from the original series. So, what are your thoughts?
This is the thing I'm looking forward to the most that's been announced. Honestly, I loved the Netflix series. I loved Daredevil. I loved all of them, all the Defenders, Punisher. I thought it was a great series. I thought they had a lot of emotion. They had a lot of stuff going for them. They were able to talk about some really hard things that they couldn't do in the movies,
Hmm.
especially in Jessica Jones.
Oh
And
yeah.
and I was excited when Daredevil showed up in No Way Home,
Oh my
and
gosh, that
was
one
Daredevil
was.
was
Oh, I flipped out. I wasn't even a
yeah I
huge
was
fan of the show, and I flipped out.
one. I think it's just so cool that they're able to that they're bringing him back and that they're. I hope it's in continuity because I want
It's supposed to be.
that
That's what I've
world.
heard.
One, I think Daredevil showed up in what She Hulk. He was somewhere in
Yeah,
there,
yeah, he
and I
hooked me.
mean he's already shown up. Yeah, so I want more of this. I really hope that they bring more of the old Defenders back. I know that there was a huge controversy with Iron Fist, but they've changed him up in the comics, so they can make him in. They can bring him in. They can have just. I loved the Defenders. I can't wait to see this. I can't wait for the action. I can't wait for the acting. This one is going to be. This is the top of my watch list.
Yeah, I've been rewatching the Daredevil series recently. I just got done season one. I am gonna have to book it through the rest to be able to finish the other two seasons and the Defenders before the end of next month. But it's like I forgot because I did not get enveloped in it the first time around. I did not get understand the hype, but and I don't know if it's just because I've changed or maybe I'm just watching it differently because I've watched it pretty fast instead of it being over the course of a month or whatever. However, I watched it before. Like it's hitting me different this time, and it's making me excited for this new series. I'm curious what they're gonna do, like how why it's being split into two seasons. Is it gonna be two distinct storylines, or is it just we're spreading out the story, which I kind of would enjoy, but I think I'd also kind of hate it. You know, um, a cliffhanger for the sake of cliffhanger, and not because that's where this season actually ends.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, an MCU is good at following up with cliffhangers, so I would be willing to certainly give them the benefit of the doubt on this one, especially since how good the originals were.
yeah, I was just thinking, like, because when I watched, you know, everyone loved the Loki series, especially season one, and but I felt like it ended season one ended so abruptly that I'm like, it's it. It was season one and season two, but it didn't feel like it felt like it was all still one story. And I'm hoping that this is going to feel more like a season one, a season two, not just two halves of the same book. But I mean, it's fine if it is. It threw me off with Loki, and I maybe just wasn't prepared for it. Now set my expectations differently for Daredevil.
And see, I
So,
had such an issue with Loki. I did not like Loki at all.
oh yeah,
By the end of it, I was so bored. It was so just more running around and talking and existentialism and just I was just by the time the end of season 2, I was so grateful I didn't have to watch any more of it.
I don't know. I'm
I
just yeah. The one thing for Daredevil that, as far as characters, that I was surprised to see Yusuf Khan is on the cast list from Ms. Marvel. I don't know how much he's supposed to appear, but it's a very different tone on Ms. Marvel than it is on Daredevil. So I'm curious how that's. But I mean, they're in New Jersey and Daredevil is New York, so it's makes perfect sense. I'm just curious
Yeah, they're
how.
neighbors. They may as well show up a little bit, and that helps to tie back. I know that there's still a lot of flack for Miss Marvel, and I think they're trying to still get a little bit of momentum going for her because Miss Marvel had such a hard release, and then when the Marvels came out, it had so many detractors from it, and they had already put so much. They were trying to make and they've been trying to make Miss Marvel the big thing for years, and the fact that it
I
fell
love
so
Ms.
hard on
Marvel.
its
I don't
face.
even understand the hate for Ms. Marvel or the Marvels because I loved her series. Not as much as I loved her in one of the Avengers cartoons, but I still thought she was like adorable as her character. Like she played the fangirl superhero really well. So
I warmed up to her. It took me till the end of the series to warm up to her,
mhm.
but I did eventually warm up to her. I liked her family a lot more. Like, I wanted more of this Indian Pakistani immigrants to the US Muslim story. I wanted just this drama. I wanted that story more than I wanted like whatever the crap she was doing. But
Yeah,
I did warm up to her. I think it was just I think there's still just that hatred and that issue that people have when it comes to female superheroes, that and especially there's always been going to be a hatred for teen girls. Anything written about by for teen girls always gets the detractors going. And I think that's a shame because the show really, I mean, there were a few parts where I was like, just get off my lawn. But at
yeah,
the same time, I wanted more of that drama. I wanted more of that world. And she as a character was decently interesting near at the end. Um, and I think that a lot of the Marvel thing, like I said, there's just always going to be an issue with women in superhero and geek properties, especially when with Miss Marvel, with Captain Marvel, with all of them, they're not sexualized. Like DC's done a really decent job of not sexualizing their superheroes,
yeah. I'm just
minus
curious.
Black Widow.
I was just I was pondering this because I was looking back on the Arrowverse after Superman and Lois finally finished, and I don't remember. Like, I hear what you're saying about the female superheroes and stuff, and that makes me so sad. But I don't remember any of that hate for like Supergirl. So I'm like, why is Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel getting this hate? And I mean, who knows? Honestly, at this point in the world today, who knows?
And it really is a weird hit and miss because it's like we also didn't get any hate for Wonder Woman when it was Gal Gadot. Like she was universally loved as Wonder Woman. But
At
then
least on the first
we had
one.
there was so much like, oh yeah, the first one. The second one, we won't even get into that. I can't
That
even
was
start
weird.
with what went wrong there. But when it comes to, well, and like I said, especially the teen girl thing, there's a lot of hatred towards teen girls. I mean, a lot of people say, there's a lot of backlash with Twilight. There was a lot of backlash with when boy bands started coming back, when boy bands first came out. It's basically anything that appeals to or tries to appeal to a teen girl. That's a problem. Um, and on top of that, Captain Marvel had a lot of got some flack too, even though it was quite successful. But there were a lot of people detracting it, saying, "Oh well, she doesn't show enough skin. Her outfit's too tight. She looks like this. She's too overpowered. Um, she's too intimidating. She's not feminine enough. She's too feminine." And it's like, yeah, no one's going to be pleased with this, and it's
Yeah,
ridiculous
you're
that this
never gonna
hate keeps
win.
going around.
So, but bringing it back around to Daredevil, because I mean, I got us off on that talking about Yusuf Khan, but yeah, I think you said it before. Like, I'm glad that they're kind of still mixing that universe in, even though there's controversy or hate or whatever you want to call it about the Marvels. Like, we still have her family kind of hopefully slipping in and slipping out of future projects. Same with like the Rambos with other projects moving forward. That even if Captain Marvel's controversial or hated or whatever people are going to say, I hope that characters from those franchises keep coming in and out so that it's like with Eternals didn't do well, and there has been criticism or comments over the past few years of like, well, what about that Celestial that's sticking out of the earth? And I think from the trailer of Captain America, we're actually supposed to kind of get glimpses of that. So it's like people, it hasn't been forgotten. And I think previous to Endgame, Marvel did a really good job at not, like, even if something was unpopular, like Thor Dark World, they still incorporated it, and it was not like they wrote off the story. They still utilized it, and still like brought it back around, made it relevant again, kind of trying to redeem their content instead of erasing it. Um, which kind of on the flip side is, um, they're also listening to their fans and saying like, "Hey, we know that fans really loved Daredevil, so instead of restarting his story, we're going to continue his story." So, as much as they are kind of ignoring some fans' opinions and kind of incorporating stuff back in from Marvel or Eternals, they're listening too, that they're bringing back the Defenders from Netflix, because I remember when Daredevil was canceled and it was like a almost like collective groan of, really, this show's over now? We loved this. And now it's back, essentially. They're
Yeah,
even keeping it
I was really
PVMA.
upset when they canceled it. So
So, and I think that had more to do with copyright and stuff or licensing. So I'm glad that they're bringing it back around.
I think a big part of it was the controversy they had with Iron Fist and how all that went down. Which I'm still like, okay, come on, people, but
I
it's
enjoyed
one of
Iron
the,
Fist.
it's an artifact. It's a whole. Oh, I loved Iron Fist. No, the controversy
Yeah.
wasn't anything that happened in the show. Really, it was the fact that they were like, well, why did you cast a white guy to get like martial arts and these Asian abilities? And it's like that's how the comic went. That's who the Iron Fist is. He's a
I
blonde white
remember.
guy. But there was a lot of people who had a lot of issue with that, saying it was cultural appropriation, saying it was all this stuff, which it's like, you know what? In the back in the day, it probably wasn't that great. It's a whole mess that we could get into. It's a whole other tangent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really sad when they canceled all the Defenders stuff. I loved every inch of it, and I'm so glad to see parts of it back. And it's like, I'll bring this back to Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. They've got Nico showing up. So we
Mm.
still we're getting a glimpse of the Runaways somewhere in the multiverse. There's a Nico. I'm so happy that she's still around. That they're not ditching her
I'm just waiting. I'm fingers
or
crossed,
the other
praying all
Runaways.
that, because tangentially, the Runaway series should be canon, because Daredevil, or no, Luke Cage was mentioned in Cloak and Dagger, and then Cloak and Dagger appeared on Runaways. So all three, the Defenders, Cloak and Dagger, and Runaways theoretically all take place in the same universe. So if the Defenders are now in, MCU Prime, then that means the rest of them should be too. And I am hoping to that, holding to that hope, just like I'm hoping that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will come back around at some point. Just bring Chloe Bennett back as Quake. That's all I want. That's all I wanted out of Secret Invasion was Quake. So I'm going to keep hoping that they keep bringing these things back around. Um, um,
Well, and fingers crossed. There's so much hope going on now. I mean, if we were having this conversation a year ago, I'm sure we would both just be exhausted, annoyed proletariats just complaining about the nonsense the MCU was doing. But right now, they've got so much good going on with these shows. They're bringing more mutant stuff in. They've got the stuff with Iron or with Doctor Doom that we didn't even get to talking about the Fantastic Four, but we've got that stuff going on. There's some hope, and I'm excited to see what this year's going to bring.
yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say with Daredevil before we sign off for the night?
Like I said, it's the one I'm looking forward to the most. So let's. I hope it's good. I hope they bring back all the Defenders, and I can't wait.
Agreed. Especially, I really love Jessica Jones. I really want. I think she's supposed to come back at some point, and I really hope I'm right about that. So I am all for it.
Same here. I want Jessica Jones back. She was amazing, and I loved her.
Oh my gosh. I see her actress as my wife and I, mostly my wife, will like put Gilmore Girls on in the background on repeat at times. And her actress was in the last season or two of Gilmore Girls. And every time I see her being this ditzy girl, I just think of this, super powered, like depressed, angry woman who's fighting for the little guy. And I love it. So, and such a
Oh,
tragic story
absolutely.
too. It's so well written, especially that first season. So,
Oh, absolutely. It was a masterpiece of television, and it's so sad that we had to end it early. But let's hope that we get to see more of these guys again, and let's hope that Daredevil is just the start of it.
yeah, let's put all the support towards Daredevil so that they keep bringing back the other guys. I say.
Heck yes.
All right. Well, that's all we got for the upcoming Marvel projects. See about doing another one of these in a couple months when the Thunderbolts gets closer. But thanks for listening, and I don't know. Anything you want to sign off with?
Have
And
a
we'll
great
go.
day.
Bye, guys. Thank you for listening to the Latter-day Saint Geeks podcast. We're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but we don't represent the church in any official capacity. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and to review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Select episodes are available on our YouTube channel. Show notes and additional content are available on our blog, latterdaysaintgeeks.com. Intro and outro music were provided by David Schradell.